$1,200 straddle. 1,200 to play.
1,200 to Gus.
Well, he's put more than 1,200 in there. I see some red chips, and those red chips are $1,000 each. He's got the snowman. Looks like a $5,200 bet.
Pass. 52. 49 more, sir.
Action over to Benjamin. Pretty sure he'll at least call this.
That's what he does.
Pass. 4 more, sir. Pass.
And we've got heads-up action here. Benjamin and Gus Hansen, but look who's coming in here. It's two-time bracelet winner Howard Lederer. Those are his chips. And what a treat. We've got the professor in the game now. But first we've got heads-up action. Benjamin, the top pair with a queen kicker.
6,000.
He checks it. Hansen bets his 8s.
Oh, these are 25.
I got somebody to take it off.
David Benjamin looking to see how much Gus Hansen has. I think on this flop, David may just re-raise.
I'm pretty sure I took 1,000 when I just changed 1,000 for you. It might be mine, I'm not sure.
And if we remember season number 1 of the $1 Million Cash Game, huge hand, where Gus Hansen had the ace-queen and Eric Seidel had the pocket 8s.
No, it might be mine. Whoa, give me the 100.
Action over to Benjamin, and
6, sir.
Now I'm light 100.
looks like he's just called this.
Yeah, I wanted the 100.
Well, he's possibly hoping that Gus is going to keep firing.
Nobody to pick on.
Count on the table.
Trying to disguise his ace-queen a little bit.
Turn card 5. Check.
Pot is now $26,000.
Because I just changed the chip, so.
I don't think Gus is in the mood for losing too much in this pot.
Now you have to imagine that Gus is done with this one. But we'll have to see.
Like if there's 1,000 extra, then that's mine.
He's still reaching for his chips.
No flush draw out there. Does he think maybe that Benjamin has a 7 or maybe a straight draw?
Well, he's sitting there with 2 8s himself. It's a lot harder for him to have a 6-8 kind of hand. Yep, goes check, check.
Last card. Deuce.
Well, even if he had 6-4, deuce wouldn't complete that straight either.
Bet of 12,000, 15,000 maybe from David Benjamin.
Professor Plum, what's going on, buddy? What's up, Professor Plum? How you doing? I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you truly let like the 2 worst Chinese players in history beat you? I mean, that's a rumor going around here.
By the way, you know, the game's not over, Mike.
But I mean, wow! Woo! It's good to be.
There you have it.
There's a game tonight.
And I'm ready to bet on my man high. I'll be playing on the internet. You guys want to play high? Just call me.
Wow.
How about that one?
You're playing 10,000 to
You can just go on ahead and break me.
Basically, whenever I had 2 hands, one of them had a straight flush.
I need to. That's
Which is the real problem, 3-handed. Yeah.
I need to be in with you.
I know. I've noticed that.
Yeah, but Phil, you're having a bad Phil, you're having a bad Chinese day.
That's why I'm going to let him play.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
going to take a big piece of it.
Very smart, because he's
I'm
ready
not
to.
stupid.
You are. See how smart you are? That's Krypton right there from the plank. That's Phil from the plank. He knows what's going on here. That. He told Durr, don't take.
I know he's due today.
Do you want to take a piece of me in this big Chinese game? I know I'm going to lose big. And Durr takes 20% of them, and he gets crushed. He says, I know I'm going to lose big. Take a piece of me.
Basically, my average hand also with Patrick is I'd have ace, queen, jack, 10s and 7s.
And a call from Gus Hansen there. He tosses in his chips. He's not going to like what he sees. His hands hit the muck, and the chips go to Benjamin. And, Benjamin, the roller coaster ride continues.
Yeah, he's tried his best to get paid in this pot, and he's successful.
Burr joins the table. his 2 WPT titles, 2 World Series of Poker titles, and he joins the table with $100,000.
Is it far from here or no?
A chef and a driver.
Is it far from here? You want to
No, I have no house.
You want to do something? We're staying online.
And
It's 4-seat.
really an unbelievable lineup we've had so far, huh, Gary?
Yeah, some of the biggest faces, biggest names in the game.
Whatever we play online is all
And the action's pretty well shown that. Over $3 million on the table right now.
minimum 2 hours.
And I'd hate to think how much money these boys have had go through their fingers during their poker career.
I'm going to hang out with Dur and watch him play Theo.
Whatever, I gotta go. I'm not gonna quit if I'm ahead. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh my God, you just something else.
I'm gonna play 2 hours, but I just don't want to.
I don't know how I can deal with you.
I just fold.
Phil,
I can never commit for an hour. It's too much.
Put a 5,000 bounty. That's small enough that he can
Like
still.
who cares? 5,000 is what he pays me to make.
Well, that's not a bad hand to find to start off, but he's showing what he did. He's not even going to play ace-jack for 1 raise.
Well, it's 1 raise from a straddled pot, so it's quite a raise, and it's from Patrick Antonius.
And it's a first position raise, admittedly. The double straddle from Gus Hansen. I think he's trying to make something work for him tonight. It's been a long time since he won a decent pot, and he's decided to call, Patrick.
Well, not much hair between these 2 players, as we see a flop. A couple of clubs out there, but a whole bunch of nothing for the players. A pot of almost $17,000. You can't blame Howard Lederer for kind of sitting it out, watching for a second.
Yeah, he doesn't know how crazy the game's been.
And it goes check, check to the turn. Well, the turn doesn't change anything. Antonius still ahead with king high.
Check.
And they both check again.
10.
Well, there's the 10.
Check.
Antonius didn't need it, but it'll probably make him feel better. He's got 2 pair now. 10s and 4s.
It means we might see a bet anyway.
But Hansen looks like he's giving up on this pot already.
10,000.
And sure enough, he throws it away.
Pass.
Very passive play from 2 very aggressive players.
Yeah, I think that they've both been kind of hit a little bit. Patrick Antonius down an awful lot of money in this game, and Gus Hansen can't seem to get anything to work for him right now.
Button in front of our big winner so far, Phil Ivey. But we still have poker to be played.
12 strike.
Phil Ivey with a mound of chips in front of him. He's got over 1.3 million chips in front of him.
Pass. Call. Pass.
The blinds at the moment, 300, 600 with an overstraddle of 1,200. David Benjamin calling the 1,200 with his 9-jack. And the button belonging to Phil Ivey and the hand of ace-jack. And he's going to raise it up.
1,000.
Yeah, just when you thought Phil Ivey was done for the night, he comes out and bites you.
Pass. Call.
But Benjamin is going to call this, and we'll see it heads up between 2 superstars.
8, 10, 4. Check.
Well, 3 hearts out there. A 9-jack with the jack of hearts for David Benjamin. It's a pretty big flop for him, and a good turn too.
It went check, check there. Benjamin, he flops an open-ended straight draw with the only heart. Now he turns the flush.
He might bet, hoping to get a call from Phil with a king.
Is there any way Ivey loses any money on this one?
Check.
Only if it goes check, check and a queen comes.
Check.
Well, hardly a queen. But now there's a flush on the board. Could Ivey call, hoping for a chop?
Well, we all know that David Benjamin can make the bluff here. And a 10,000 bet Might make Phil cool, hoping to get 7,500 back.
Well, I've seen a lot of good play today, and I've seen a lot of bad play today.
Okay.
A little 5-dime steal.
Very, very impressive.
What's your nice big?
I
You have it. Don't matter.
I did.
It's only 5,000 you stole from me, so it's not that bad.
Counts for me at that point.
Huh?
It's start a count right
Small
now.
price you pay to be in lockdown.
Button in front of Gus Hansen. Action on Mike the Mouth Mattisau.
Pass.
And Mike the Mouth has stopped straddling here. He's up $130,000 and he seems content with that.
Well, it's not a bad day at the office, 130,000.
I'd take it. Benjamin, though, is down 100,000. And he's going to keep mixing it up.
And here comes Howard.
And it's official, the professor is back. It is official.
Well, the professor's been studying.
Pass.
Gus throws it away.
Pass.
Anyone wanting to take on the professor in this spot? Yep, he's got himself a customer in the shape of David Benjamin. 6-7 of clubs for him.
9-4, 9. Check.
Well, nothing there for either player. That Lederer is still ahead.
It's just going for the trophy.
Whichever player shows more aggression, though, might win this pot. Pot is $8,000 nearly. Mike the Mouth talking to the 22-year-old internet sensation.
Short-handed always. It has to be ringing with a good lineup.
You should play 36 short-handed.
Cool.
I sent him videos. I
Howard Lederer wins the pot. Takes Benjamin to school. Get it?
Yeah, I woke up with a big hand finally. It's taken like 4 or 5 hands. I was wondering where it was.
Action on the professor.
How often have I turned you down?
Howard Lederer not going to play that in first position.
Was it like one
And
time?
we do have a
ever? One time?
straddled pot here.
No.
Tom Dwan.
I just want to learn.
Gus Hansen going to raise it up with the ace rag.
Not many times, but you have.
And Patrick Antonius.
We normally don't remember those things.
Doesn't like giving up his button, that much is certain. 10 jack for him.
Cool.
And he calls.
I'm busy waiting.
That's not really what Gus wants to see when you've raised it up with such a marginal hand. John Joander with a difficult hand to play out of position.
I had to quit because I couldn't take the props. That was too high.
He's up 70,000. I don't think he wants to get involved with that kind of hand right now.
That was the highest prop game of all time, by the way. You know that, right? I don't know. How is it
And
about?
Dwan's going to toss in his chips. He's got the suited 8-4.
We were playing, me and him were playing head up step, and we were dealing
All around the table.
10, 9,
3
4.
extra hands. We were playing first
Well,
three,
it's
second
top
three,
pair
last three, and
for
around
Patrick
the table.
Antonius.
Check.
And
Not
of
a lot
course,
for Gus.
of course, John Joander, you wonder if he's regretting not calling. He had the queen jack, would have been open-ended with the overcards. Pot is $18,500. Action over to Patrick Antonius.
That was sick.
I ran out of money almost.
12,000.
Don't you understand?
He bets 2/3 of the pot.
You know, razor blades.
$12,000 bet. Pot is now $30,500. Action over to Tom Dwan.
It's like Phil. He's really not a poker player. It's just all a hustle.
He's got one of those kind of hands that if he calls to try and spike something, Tom, here, he catches the ace 8, he could be up against a straight. But it could just be a button steal. He's seen it before, so he's going to peel one off.
Cool.
Is there 10 and
And he decides to call.
This is one of those times where he's either looking for running hearts or a 4, huh?
Exactly. Here's the turn.
6.
There's one of the hearts.
Gives him a straight draw as well. If he was involved before, he's going to be involved with that.
Tom Dwan can catch a 7, a heart, a 4, or obviously, as we see, an 8. But he might not like the 8.
Not as much.
Well, you can see the pot is $42,500. And I don't think he's going to sit around there. He's going to bet right into Patrick.
course, the danger with this bet is Patrick Antonius
34-7.
could think he's in front and re-raise. It'd be very, very brave, of course, with that kind of a board.
Of course, the 6 does complete one of the straight draws.
34-7.
Pot is now $77,000. And it's about $35,000 to Antonius. How do you play this if you're in Antonius' spot?
I think I just call. Both players have got $500,000 at the start of this pot. I don't want to escalate it too much. I've got position, I've got the button, I've got what I think right now is the best hand. I can call off a bet on the river if nothing scary comes. That's my play.
$125,000 total.
Well, it looks like Patrick Antonius has decided his 10 is good. He's put the pressure back on Tom Dwan.
As he's re-raised here. He's put in $125,000. And Tom Dwan probably regretting that bet right about now. And it's about $90,000 more to Dwan. He's got a straight draw, a flush draw, and a pair. He's a 3-2 dog.
We've already seen today that Tom Dwan does have the heart of a lion. He could push and rely on the fact that he's got outs if he's wrong.
He was down over $300,000 before. He's worked his way back. Does he really want to risk all these chips now? What a tough decision for the internet phenom. $202,000. $90,000 to call for Tom Dwan. What's going through Tom Dwan's head right now?
Am I going to get my odds if I catch? Will I get paid if I catch my heart?
I mean, can he re-raise this? Well, he's just going to call this.
He's just going to call it. He has actually got quite a lot of cards he can catch here. Some of them might get him paid, some might not.
Well, that's not one of them. The 3 of clubs does not do it for him. And what's he going to do now? The pot is nearly $300,000. He's put an awful lot of chips out there, and he knows his 4 is no good. He checks it, though.
This might be check.
Check.
Patrick checks as well. He's protected his hand well. He's been very happy with his 125,000 on the turn.
10.
Nice hand.
I think Tom's thinking if it had pushed on the turn, he might have got rid of Patrick Antonius there. A bit disgusted with himself. I think that was his instinct, but maybe he left it too long.
I almost pulled the trigger. I think you win. Oh yeah, I win fast. Nice hand.
We're at the FullTiltPoker.net $1 million cash game. We have a double straddle in this one. Or is that a triple straddle?
I think that's a triple straddle. I think they're just trying to see if John Joander can get in another straddle before before he looks at his cards. No, it's 4,800 blind from Patrick Antonius. And these are the kind of hands that can get people into trouble.
You gotta get punished.
You start looking at that pot and you realize, wow, there's already $10,000 in the pot. How can I steal it? Suddenly king, queen, king, jack start looking really good.
Exactly, and to steal it, you're going to have to make a decent-sized bet. And that's exactly what John Joander's done. 15,000 is the bet from him. Wow, and Howard Leder has picked up kings in a triple straddle pot.
And the professor moves all in. He just figures, you know what, I've only got 100,000. You're in for 15. No way I can't commit myself here. So he moves all in. And Juan, I don't see anybody calling this, can they?
No, not at all. This hand's already over, I think.
Well, John Juan still has his cards. But I think this is just for show.
I don't think there's any way he can find a hand that that Howard Leder is going to be raising in this spot, that he's going to be in good shape.
Can I see how much exactly?
1031.
Huh?
1031.
That's what I feel.
It can.
No, it can. Oh, you mean including the 15?
He's right.
Juan, they're trying to figure out if he's pot committed already, to see if maybe he's getting the odds. But with king, queen offsuit.
Well, there's only one hand he can really be possibly getting his odds with here, and that's jacks. And you've got to decide, do you think Howard Leder commits his 100,000 this late in the day with pocket jacks?
Well, I mean, you can't have anything except 7, 8, or 10 that calls. You're not gonna like raise call 6s.
88-1.
Looks like a re-raise of about 88,000.
So we're getting about 1.5 to 1 on your money.
I think John's going to think about it for a few seconds and then he's going to throw it in. He's not getting priced in with this.
Even if Leder had ace-king here, you really want to be getting better odds than the 1.5 to 1 on your money.
You're just about getting your odds with an ace-jack.
Just painful for Juanda. He's put in $15,000. For that much money, at least you want to see a flop.
I'd quit poker if I shoved and you called.
Nope, he eventually comes to the right decision, throws his hand across the line. And Howard takes down that pot.
Howard Leder has got to be thrilled. He's only played a few hands, and he's already up $27,500. Take a look at the leaderboard here. Bill Ivey on top. He's up over $500,000. He's got 1.3 million in front of him. Matisau's left the table, and he's up 130,000. Our big losers, of course, Patrick Antonius, David Benjamin, Tom Dwan, all down just around the $100,000. Get another straddled pot here. Action over to Patrick Antonius.
4,000.
Raising up the live straddle with his 8-9 of clubs.
Pass.
John Joanda passes.
Whoever gets the straddle offered is raising the pot. Is raising under the gun.
And Tom Dwan with an ace-jack on the button.
14-3.
Makes it 14,300. Putting the pressure back on Patrick Antonius. Howard Leder not finding much there. Gus goes. Just the original raiser and Tom Dwan to go.
Action back to Patrick Antonius here. And he's going to play this hand.
He's going to move all in anyways.
Looks like a call there. Pot is now $31,400.
Jack 8.
Both players with a piece of it. Second pair for Antonius. Top pair, top kicker for Dwan. Neither player with a diamond in their hand.
Both players also very deep.
And you look at this flop, and you look at their hands, and you wouldn't think this could be a huge pot, but it's already $31,000. And these players, they have history. This one could grow.
The red one's 1,000. The purple one's 500.
19.
Sorry, the purple one's 100.
And it looks like a $19,300 bet. Over to Antonius. He's a 3-to-1 dog. But he doesn't know that. He might think he's ahead right now.
He's called with the 8-9. He's caught at his middle pair.
Cool.
And he's going to call.
Pot is now nearly $70,000. And if you're Tom Dwan, do you like your hand still?
I think so. Until Patrick Antonius re-raises him, he's going to figure his ace-jacks in front.
Well, the 4 spades is a safe card.
Well, we know it's a safe card. A 5-7, of course, has just got there.
Good point. Of course, the pot is nearly $70,000. Antonius is going to need a 9 or an 8 to win this pot, unless, of course, he can get Dwan to fold. And is this one of those times, can Tom Dwan get 3 streets of value out of this?
Well, he can get 2. It depends on whether Patrick's inclined to call him on the river. And it depends what comes. Queen of Diamonds could definitely shut this action off.
It definitely looks like he's going to bet there.
I think that's 2 black chips as well.
59.3. 58, sorry. 58.3.
58,300. Pot is $128,000. 58,000 back to Antonius. And Tom Dwan has such a knack of getting paid off with pretty marginal hands.
There's so many draws that could be in Tom Dwan's hand. Patrick Antonius is thinking, there's a chance my 8's winning, and he's betting some kind of a draw. The diamonds are out there, spades are out there. So many straight draws. And Tom could just be firing on air. He's definitely got previous for that as well.
Patrick's got the black chips in his hand.
Is he thinking about a big, big re-raise here?
Well, if he does re-raise here, can Dwan take the heat? Of course, like you pointed out, 7-5 got there. Patrick Antonius down to 5 outs. He needs an 8 or a 9. Another monster pot between these two players. And what is going on in Patrick's head right here? Is he considering raising, you think?
I think he thinks if he's in front, it might be worth re-raising. He did it in the previous hand between these two. But the difference then, he had position.
Does it make a difference that the last time they did this, Patrick had top pair and he only had second pair?
Of course, there's a lot more hands that could be beating him right now. His biggest problem is if Tom Dwan calls behind him, what does he do on the river? Well, he's eventually laid it down. It's a good pass from Patrick.
He was really close to raising. What? He was really close, he was really close to...
Very close to moving.
Raising.
But about 2 minutes ago, he folded.
To raise you?
No, I don't think that's true.
No, it was
Really looked like
raising
it
you.
to me.
Well, at the moment, the big chip stack is sitting in front of Phil Ivey. He's also in the profit lead as well and seems well on his way to that trophy. Can anyone catch him? We'll find out after the break.
This is the penultimate hand of the $1 million cash game. And does that change anything, Gary?
Well, some of the players who are stuck might be thinking this is a chance to get out of it. Some of the players who have already got what they want for the day, made enough money, they might be switching off a little.
I didn't know you guys were gun blind. I would have probably folded.
All the buttons in front of the professor. He's going to lay it down.
Wow. Let me see. Oh, wait. We'll see how it would have hit.
And the theme of this $1 million cash game. Tom Dwan raises. Gets one caller.
It would only been a 65 ball. 65 ball. It would have only been a 65 ball. You know, I'd check fold.
So far, you're on your turn. I have 5
Pretty
deuce.
strong, right?
What did you have?
I had 5 deuce.
I didn't know. I would have folded it. Queen 9 suited.
What did you have?
Well, this is it, the final hand of the FullTiltPoker.net $1 million cash game. Phil Ivey's on the button, and he looks destined to be the big winner this year, as he was in season number 1 of the $1 million cash game. He's up over $500,000.
I'm giving a chance to somebody to get a lot of chips.
Tom Dwan has nothing to be ashamed of course, the 22-year-old internet sensation.
Pass.
Not going to play the last hand.
We've got a couple of overstraddles in this pot, just to liven it up, give everyone a chance to gamble. Last hand,
Sure.
2,400 to play.
Cool.
2,400 from Gus. He just wants to gamble in this, the last hand. And that's what he's gambling with, the 7-4 of hearts. Patrick Antonius has finished. He's thrown his hand in.
Well, if you're going to gamble,
that's not a bad hand to finish with, the pocket threes. You catch a 3, you might get a steamer trying to get out of it.
Well, 4 ways.
All right.
The last hand. Pot is $10,900. Action will be on Gus Hansen.
6, 10, 5. Check.
No 3 for John.
Check.
In fact, not much for anyone.
Check.
6 for Phil Ivey. Mind you, an up and down straight for Gus.
The 3 diamonds out there. Whoever bets this one is probably going to take it down.
8,000.
Gus not even going to try to make an up and down straight with 3 diamonds on the board.
Pass.
And sure enough, our big winner takes down the last pot of the night. How fitting. He's won over $500,000. He's got 1.328 million in front of him. And he won the first hand, and he won the last hand. Only fitting. Phil Ivey, 2008 champion. And our final leaderboard here, Phil Ivey, our big winner, $1.3 million in front of him. He made over $500,000. Mike Matisow, $130,000 in the black. Don't forget about Elia Lesra. He made over $100,000. John Juanda, plus $69,000. Howard Lederer, over $26,000 in that short time there. Gus Hansen gave away $40,000. Tom Dwan gave away $54,000. What a roller coaster ride for him. David Benjamin, talk about a roller coaster ride, down over $100,000. Patrick Antonius loses $171,000. And our big loser, he's not on the board. He's left the building. It's Phil Hellmuth. He's lost over $300,000.
Last season was an absolute roller coaster. Did you feel a bit more in control this time around?
Yeah, well, I was never stuck that much this season. Last season, I was stuck $400,000 or $500,000, and I won that big pot against Patrick to get me back to even or small winner. And so this year, I was never stuck a lot. I was always out in front, so I kind of just coasted along, and you know, was fortunate enough to win the big hands.
I had a great time. These guys had a great time. Everybody had fun needling everybody. You know, I didn't want to just be the one needling Phil, because I was just trying to have fun with everybody. But you just can't help himself when Phil just says what he says. He opens himself up to get needled, you know?
I'm happy I didn't get hurt. I could have got hurt if I would have just got involved to more big pots, and since I never had anything. So next time I'm trying to do better, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Tom, you are the up-and-coming prodigy in world poker. How much have you enjoyed your stint at the table with some of the more established names?
It was a surprisingly fun game, actually. I mean, I've played with most of the guys there a bunch before, live and online. But most of the TV cash games I played on before weren't anywhere near as entertaining. The combination of the way the seats were set up, the hands that got dealt, just the mood everyone was in, and the fact that there was a lot of money on the table made for a ton of really interesting hands.
Obviously, if you don't play well against a lineup of this caliber, you're going to lose. I mean, like I said, I played fairly tight, so it was just a small swing for me. I lost 40,000. Of course, it's much more fun to win, but I'll be feeling a little better next time around, and I'm planning to be in the winner's column.
Despite the hit to your chip stack, though, has it been a blast playing with these guys?
It's always fun. I mean, I've known these guys for a long time. I mean, obviously all very strong players, and especially I think it's fun to take Phil Ivey's money, but this time around he took everybody else's money, so I'll have to wait for next time.
Well, this brings to an end what has been a fantastic cash game, but from a world-class field of 12, our champion has emerged with a profit of over $500,000. The Season 3 trophy winner is Phil Ivey, and I'd like to introduce Barry Mundy, the cash game director, to make the presentation. Barry.
Phil, congratulations. Well
Thank
done.